Hello, Lou Hamilton from Audible Elegance here in Cincinnati, Ohio. We're located on Montgomery Road in Old Montgomery. We have a website, audibleelegance.com. Please do visit it. It's always changing. We have manufacturer specials on it. We have used and new equipment also there. Um, One of the interesting things that I've experienced over 40 years is thinking about and interacting with women in hi-fi. And I say it's interesting because, frankly, in a general sense, I think they have better hearing. And I've had various thoughts and theories about it. And if you have some, I'd love to hear them. But I'm convinced because they're smaller boned, that applies also to the inner ears, which makes them more sensitive um, to distortion and those sort of things. Kind of a general thought I've had. I mean, might be perfectly wrong. Been wrong before. Um, but the other thing is that they look at any given item as uh, utility, and there's no ego associated with the ownership of a product. You know, they don't buy a system and then go around beating on all their girlfriend's door. You got to come over here off my house and hear my system, sort of thing. It's very straightforward, but their ability to perceive inaccuracies can best be expressed when I ask a couple, um, particularly the woman, uh, do you turn the system down, the volume down? And 9 out of 10 times they'll say all the time. And I'll ask them why, and they say it hurts. And when I perceive um, distortion, and I'm less sensitive to it, I guess I suppose, it hurts. And that makes them a good companion to bring along, um, to listen to things, uh, because they're more adept at picking things off that are wrong. Um, I often use the analogy of uh, children crying in a room, and uniquely, a mother can pick out her child that's crying. Um, and most men, all they see is a room of crying children. They can't perceive um, their own. So I think there's something to it. I mean, I think it's biological by all means, genetic probably, but I do believe that women are more sensitive to those sort of things. Now there are some women who love the crank. Don't get me wrong. We've had a few of those, but their ability to judge a system in general is probably twice as good as any man. Um, but we see so few of them, and it saddens me in that regard because they'll typically buy really good equipment. Um, the funniest one we had here, it just occurred, oh, like 6 weeks ago. A guy came in with his wife, and um, she was sitting in a chair off to the side, and we were playing a system, and she was digging it. She thought it was wonderful. Okay. She was listening to it for music, not stereo image and all this fictional sort of stuff that goes on. I mean, it's not verifiable. And I don't know. And she just blurted out, just buy it, will you? And man, it was everything I could do from keep from laughing because she was deadly right. Um, and he didn't know what to do with himself. And no, they didn't buy that date, but she picked it off just like that. That it was the best that they had heard when they were wandering around the city listening to System. So, they are a good guide. Um, they may not be the most friendly when it comes to how much money you spend, but honestly, I mean, I did a couple of videos tonight where people make half steps or buy poor quality, and then they repurchase, and what they're really doing is changing one sort of bad for another sort of bad. And so a woman's intolerance to spending like that is that she hears one sort of bad for another sort of bad, and she sees debits on the checking account or charge card bills when nothing has really improved. So it's not that they object to your hobby. What they object to is the way you continuously misspend your money. And as I said, once you buy something new, if you in the audio industry, you try to sell it used after a year or two, you're going to get hurt. And but absolutely in home theater receivers, shit, you're lucky if you get a 30-year value back on those. So your first purchase has to be good. So, if you have a girlfriend or wife, don't hesitate to bring them in. You know, um, and at the opposite end of the spectrum, I had another woman and her daughter come in. Um, Nice gal, and the daughter actually had a purse that was in the shape of a guitar, which I thought was really cool. But the guy was just a complete ass and treated him like shit. And I had no respect for that, but I couldn't tangle with him. I sure wanted to. I have had situations where I pulled the wife out of the room so I could apologize for what they just experienced because I was embarrassed about how they were humiliated. So they are a very powerful ally in selecting good equipment, and don't underestimate it. That's all I got to say.